you ever had an out-of-body experience? I think I just had a little one when I heard my name backstage. Right now, I want to tell you about the very first out-of-body experience I had after moving to Los Angeles to chase the dream of being an actor and a writer in Hollywood. One day, my boss at my tutoring job asked me to teach a class, and I said, sure, thinking that 20, 30 students, a normal class size, wouldn't be much of a stretch from my usual one-on-one work. But when I got the roster and saw 106 names, I also had my very first panic attack. The morning of the class, I step into the auditorium, get up on stage, I'm shuffling my outline, which is more like the manuscript of a novel. Guys, I was so nervous that I had written every single word I intended to say. I had timed every transition. I had even made a glossary of every question that I thought the students would ask. My stomach is a giant knot. My hands are trembling. My palms are sweating and sticking to my script. 10 a.m. hits. I take a breath, say a little prayer, and I begin. Suddenly, it's like this split happens. There is teacher me there on stage, and then there is me watching teacher me go. And watcher me is impressed with teacher me. My voice is clear, the thoughts are flowing. It's like energy is coming up through the salmon-colored tiles, through my body and out in all these words. I remember the moment that I tossed aside the script because there were these heads that would nod and these eyes that would light up when the ideas landed. And I didn't want anything to come between us. For all the worry and all the stress leading up to it, not only was I ready to take on the challenge, but part of me was able to sit back and enjoy the ride. In my second out-of-body experience, I was forcing myself to go on runs despite the fact that I hated running. But I had to get myself in shape. And so for months, I was going to the canyon near my apartment in Hollywood, and I would run for a while, and then I'd walk because I was convinced I was going to die. And then I would run, and then I would walk and try not to die, and run and walk, and run and walk, and run and quit the second I could taste breakfast starting to come back up. It felt awful. But one day, I am back out there again. It is freaking hot outside. I am pouring sweat. I remember the dirt and the gravel crunching under my shoes. And then my favorite running song comes on, Hot Soft Light by the Hold Steady. And maybe it was the music that triggered it, but suddenly I have this vision of myself from the outside. My body is a running machine. I am like the signal being beamed into it. I can see my red-faced, puffing, long-haired self in these ratty old tennis shorts, like when the elastic dies and you have to tie them on. But I have that slow-motion moment of charging around the bend and up the hill. The image is still so clear in my mind because it was equal parts impressive and kind of ridiculous. But it felt incredible because something was shifting in the way that I was experiencing my life, and I desperately needed it. See, in that first year that I went to Hollywood, I had landed that tutoring job. I'd found an apartment I could afford. I had gotten an agent. I joined a theater company. Not bad. But after that, I was losing steam. Money was tight. Auditions were hard to come by. And you want to know how hard dating is in Los Angeles? I can't even go there. Bottom line is that my confidence in myself was at an all-time low. So one day, I went to an old friend looking for guidance. And she offered up a single question. Who is the hero of this story? Want to know what I said? Nothing. I sat there totally speechless. I could not bring myself to give the only answer that's appropriate under these circumstances. This is my life. I am the hero of this story. Around that time, I was studying screenwriting, and I learned about the hero's journey, the work of Joseph Campbell, which is the classic 3-act story structure that you see in countless Hollywood movies. And suddenly, it dawned on me what had happened when I was asked the hero question. I had refused the call to my own adventure. The thing is, guys, that even if you refuse the call, the adventure is going to find you. It's inevitable. The only choice that you have is whether you will take the ride or you'll let the ride take you. In the last out-of-body experience I want to share, I was in a play cast as a character who could not have been more different from who I am as a person. This guy, Ryan, he had swagger. He was a hustler. He was smooth, and he knew it. He's the guy who ran around Hollywood in old, worn-out tennis shorts, wondering why I couldn't get a date. Smooth? Not the way I would have described myself. Anyway, this character has a spectacular entrance into the play by scaling a wall and landing in the courtyard of this motel where the play takes place. He gets up, dusts himself off, scans the scene, zeroes in on one of the guests, and the seduction begins. So one night, I make that entrance. I have a few lines, I'm remembering my blocking, I am thinking the character's thoughts, I'm doing what the character does, like a good actor. And then suddenly, it's like part of me is floating off in the theater, watching Ryan work his magic. He's going in for the kill. He is going to stop at nothing to win this other character over. And the funny thing is that observer me actually has that moment of anticipation, kind of wondering how everything's going to turn out. Of course, everything turns out the way it's written, but all of us in the audience, including observer me, has a good laugh when things don't exactly go Ryan's way. I love to share that story because I think that it sets up the perfect metaphor for what we are really talking about today. Because in that moment, I was both the character on stage and the watcher in the seats. And while it's fun to refer to these moments as out-of-body experiences, which is genuinely what they feel like, the reality is that I was equally present inside of each moment, feeling my heart beating, my thoughts racing, the adrenaline prickling through my skin. And while these moments, I'm sure, didn't look like anything to anybody else, what they revealed to me was that I could be both the subject of the story, zoomed in to my own first-person perspective, and at the exact same time, the object of the story, as if I were viewing myself as part of the whole scene through a wide-angle lens. Now, you might have noticed some of the recurring language in these stories. One day, or one night, and suddenly. These moments happen to all of us, all the time. One day, something changes, and suddenly, we are faced with a challenge. We are applying to colleges. We are auditioning for the musical. We are starting a new school or a job. We are having a child. We are coping with illness. Change always leaves us feeling vulnerable, like we are at risk, because change brings in the unknown. The fear of the unknown leaves us feeling off balance, but it's important because it ensures that we are fully paying attention. And we all know that it's what we do when faced with fear that really counts. So, the call to adventure in our own lives is about calling up the courage when someday comes about and suddenly you are plunging headfirst into the unknown. The call to adventure for a hero is an opportunity for a redefining moment. In that moment, you give up the little ideas you were hanging on to about yourself as you witness what you are truly made of. In that moment, you cast off your old self for a newer, more expansive sense of who you are and what you are really capable of. You make that leap, you take that risk, you answer the call as you step out to face the unknown head on. And what happens is that the unknown within you emerges. Your true power is revealed. To become the hero of your own story means answering the call after the call to adventure, striving for the courage to live each moment to its fullest. It's energizing, guys. Because when you are out there in the world, fighting the good fight, battling for the cause, life feels epic. And at the same time, to see yourself as the hero of your story, to develop that inner observer who is watching your journey unfold like a movie, it gives life context. You're playing the long game. You can see the whole field. You watch the way your story touches others and interconnects with theirs. You are better able to relate your story in a way that resonates with others, with clarity and with empathy, and most importantly, a sense of adventure. The connection that you create by sharing your adventure wins over allies and causes the gatekeepers to throw open the doors and welcome you in. Because while the hero's journey is a handy tool for writers, it's really for you. It charts the cycle of your personal transformation. It's actually more appropriate to say cycles of transformation, because your life's journey is really more like a series of quests, each of which can last hours, or a day, or months, or even decades, spanning graduations, marriage, your career, retirement, old age. Among my quests, running redefined me by helping me to develop the appetite and the discipline to push my own limits day after day. Without those qualities, there is no way I could do the work that I so love to do. My experience in theater fueled the work it took to found an ensemble and to make a feature film with friends, which actually just went up on the big screen a few weeks ago for the very first time. And without that moment on that stage in that high school auditorium those years ago, I don't know whether I would be here on this stage in this auditorium speaking to all of you, going through this totally out-of-body experience right now. But there is one thing that sets this moment apart from all the other ones. I choose to be here, present on this stage, and to observe this moment that I've been dreaming of with all of you. Because when you are living and witnessing the stages of your journey unfolding, any moment in life becomes part of something so much bigger. So, today, I want to leave you with a few questions. Where is the call to adventure in your life right now? Will you take the risk and answer the call? Or will you risk what happens if you refuse the call? Are you willing to look inside yourself and find out what you are truly made of? Because guys, with everything going on out there, there is an awful lot at stake for all of us. You have to realize that there is one thing that this world needs above and beyond anything else. You. Thank you.